I'm in the junkyard. Here's how to remove the airbags on the A60, which has like a triangular airbag from 2001-2009. So you need to locate two tiny holes behind, and you need to have it rotated about 90 degrees either way. Of course, at the junkyard, usually it's locked. There is no key. I'll show you a tip in a moment. But at home, just be sure to rotate it. And by the way, when you rotate it, you also have a clock spring behind, so don't rotate more than 90 degrees, go back, and for the other hole, again 90 degrees and go back. Be sure to keep the steering wheel center. Now we need to go behind the steering wheel. There is two holes, and I'm using a screwdriver which is rather thin to get into that hole, 3-4 inches long, I would say 4 inches. The tip doesn't matter, but I want it to be small enough. It could be a Torx, Phillips, flat, doesn't matter, but I want it to be small enough. And my suggestion first, it can be very frustrating, but first try to feel with the screwdriver behind. And you realize at some point there is like something, an obstacle, and you can go by the obstacle and go deeper a little bit. Let me just try to feel. Here you go. So that's the obstacle, and you can go by the obstacle like this. You can actually go both sides of the obstacle. This is one side and this is the other side. But what you want to do, I hope you can imagine when the steering wheel is on your car, you want to reach with the screwdriver towards the exterior side, and on the other side towards the exterior as well, not towards the interior. So try to reach, just drop it in the center, you feel that bump, and I'm going to move a little bit the screwdriver to the center of the airbag like this, and now I'm at the outer side of that bump. I'll show you the bump in a moment what it means. And from this moment on, the movement on the screwdriver is towards the outside of the steering. The tip of the screwdriver will push inwards. The handle I will pull on it outwards. Let me just put the airbag to see it. So actually I'm lifting now. Let's try it again. Sometimes it can actually be stuck, so this is freeing it on this side. Sometimes it can be stuck in there. Maybe try to pull a little bit, don't force too much. If you know you have disengaged it correctly. It's really awkward to film this. Again, I aim towards the outside. Here you go. I can feel I got the bump towards the outside. I'm going to lift the handle, and if you look inside, let me just get more comfortable perhaps. What's happening, these holes here, if I lift the thing, you have the airbag in there, and basically what's happening is that you are reaching with that small kind of, you are reaching towards the inside of it, and you are just tossing to one side, just like this. That's the movement. That's how you free the two bumps on the airbag and release it. But again, the movement is as the steering stays straight. A movement, you need to aim towards the exterior of the string, that bump. You hook the bump basically, and then you just force like this. That's the movement. Once you get it out, you'll notice this movement. This is where that spring is hooking on these two pins. Notice that kind of notch to one side. Again, that's the spring that's hooking on it. Now when you are at the junkyard, obviously you cannot turn the steering. This one it's already turned a little bit, but what you may want to try is remove the stalks, cover, top cover, bottom cover, 3 Torx. You really feel the tension in that spring, and you notice I had to rotate it quite a bit. Okay, now this is first off, before disconnecting the airbag, Volvo says to disconnect the car battery 10 minutes ahead. 10, not 5, 10. so there's no any static. To disconnect the airbag, these two tiny tabs, and pull a little bit. It can be a little bit stuck, but not too much. And you have colors on them, so you know which one goes where. And one of the things I did realize is you have this kind of rubber here, and this airbag was already removed for some reason, because these wires here are passing by that rubber. That's how they sit in there. You'll notice, perhaps you'll see this already on your car. They need to be hooked here, because when you rotate the steering, you want this cable, you don't want them to have friction around. That's how they sit in there, and you need to put them back the same way. Also, you have this green connector, and all these are attached to the clock spring, which should go, these cables should go by that hole when you remove the steering. And remember, when the bolt is out, not to rotate the steering, keep it center. So undo the bolt, 18mm, use a long pry bar or something, because it's really stiff. And I'm going to hook it on the steering lock. I don't know how safe it is to force this much on the steering lock. The bolt has, oh, this one was really loose. Okay, that was really loose. It shouldn't be this easy. And the bolt, by the way, has red Loctite on it. Now, once you remove the bolt, be sure to put the steering at the exact same position. So be sure to align it properly. Be sure to have the front wheels straight, and don't mess with this, because it's going to damage the clock spring sensor. And before you remove it, be sure to mark the side of the steering and the splines at some point. Use some paint so you know to put it exactly at the same spline, so you don't do the same you don't want to repeat the job all over again. This is your clock spring SAS. There's two types. STC is one type, DSTC is another one, but check the numbers to be sure. When you replace it with the new one has a tiny screw here, I believe. It's for transportation. That screw is for when you ship it. You have to remove the screw from there. I think it goes in here and it locks in there, so it's keeping it aligned like this. Be sure to remove this small screw, throw it away. And by the way, this is the not this one being a 2004. It has this part number. This one is 2002. It's the ones that are being recalled in the humid and hot states in the United States. S60 and S80 2001 2003. These are three steering wheels from S60. Could be different models as an engine, transmission. This one, it's a S60 2002, 2004, 2005. That's their airbags, and the airbags look the same, but they have different part numbers. And by the way, they are made by this company. However, 2005 has kind of a different design here. I don't know what this is. There's none on these ones. Now, the steering wheel has the same part number, all of them, but there's again a difference. Notice how 2002 have wires here. 2005 does not have those wires there. So it looks like there is a wiring difference. 2002, 2001, 2000, perhaps 4. In 2005 you no longer have that. Notice this kind of plastic covering wires. Now let me just put this one back into 2002, and this is how to put it back in place. And notice this 2002 has slightly different design. You need to match the pins into the springs, and also have kind of clip here that goes into this plastic. So align it properly, careful. Obviously you are going to attach all connectors, tighten the bolt, make sure it's aligned nice, and then give it a slap. And you may want to check the honk, it's working properly, it's perfectly aligned. Make sure you really snap it back in place correctly, right? You don't want to have a small surprise. Same for 2004. This is for your safety, right? Slap it nicely. You see the edge here. Whoops, it's gone. Don't be afraid to kick it. Not gonna kill the airbag. This is a 2005 again with that sort of a loop. Let's align it. Now this one I left the I broke actually the clock spring, that's why it's sitting there, so I didn't attach the wires. And again, slap it and make sure it sits nicely in place. Okay, work safely please. Thanks.